Dr. Aerys Thorne scoffed at the very idea. Atmospheric memory, they called it. The fanciful notion that powerful emotions could be imprinted on the weather, trapped in the very air we breathe during intense storms. For Aerys, a meteorologist who lived by data and Doppler radar, it was pure, unadulterated nonsense. Her life was a fortress of facts, built to keep out the unpredictable chaos of human feeling. She tracked pressure systems, not passions. Her job was to predict the weather, not to feel it. But the world, it seemed, had other plans for her. Her research into this fringe theory led her to a small, windswept coastal town and a gallery that smelled of salt and drying paint. It was there she met Elias Vance. He wasn't a scientist, but an artist with hands stained by cobalt blue and cadmium yellow. He claimed he didn't just paint storms. He painted the memories they held. He called them memory storms. Aerys found him and his work equally infuriating and compelling. His canvases were wild, tempestuous things, full of crashing waves and furious skies. But it was the emotion in them that was so unsettling. They weren't just pictures of storms. They were portraits of rage, grief, and terror. "You can't possibly believe this," she said to him one afternoon, gesturing at a painting of a violent squall. "It's just pigment on canvas. A storm is a low-pressure system, not a library of feelings." Elias just smiled, a calm, knowing look in his eyes that she found intensely irritating. "You see the low pressure," he said softly. "I feel the heartbreak." He explained that he could sense the echoes of past events when the atmospheric conditions were right. He would chase these storms, not with scientific instruments, but with his easel and paints, trying to capture the lingering emotional energy before it dissipated. To Aerys, it was a beautiful, but ultimately foolish, delusion. She decided to debunk him scientifically. She brought up the data for a particularly brutal nor'easter from a decade ago on her laptop. "Show me what you felt from this," she challenged, pointing to the swirling satellite imagery. Elias studied the screen for a moment, then walked over to a covered canvas in the corner of his studio. He pulled back the cloth. Aerys felt the air leave her lungs. It was the same storm, the same impossible, churning vortex of green and gray water. But his painting showed something her data couldn't. The splintered mast of a ship, a lone figure clinging to the wreckage, a flash of red from a tattered life jacket. It was a scene of pure, unadulterated despair. How did you do that?" she stammered. "I just painted what the storm told me," he replied. Aerys's skepticism was a solid wall, but a crack had just appeared. She spent days with him, trying to find the trick. Was he a fraud? A charlatan with access to historical maritime records? She cross-referenced his paintings with her meteorological archives. Again and again, his work aligned with real-world weather events tied to intense human drama. A blizzard that coincided with a town's great fire. A hurricane that hit the same day a famous lover's pact ended in tragedy. The correlations were statistically improbable, bordering on impossible. Still, she resisted. Correlation wasn't causation. It was all just a series of stunning coincidences. To prove her point, she brought up the most painful data she had. The records of the storm that had taken her grandfather's fishing trawler 20 years ago. It was a wound she never spoke of, a private grief that had shaped her entire life, driving her to understand the very forces that had stolen him from her. "What about this one?" she asked, her voice tight. "A Category 3 hurricane, off the Grand Banks. Tell me what you see in that." Elias looked at her, his usual calm demeanor replaced by a deep, somber empathy. He didn't consult any data. He simply closed his eyes. For 3 days, he worked in a frenzy, his studio filled with the smell of turpentine and the furious scratch of his brushes. Aerys found herself waiting, a knot of anxiety tightening in her chest. She told herself she was just waiting to expose him, to finally prove that his art was a lie. But a deeper, more vulnerable part of her was terrified of what he might show her. When he finally called her in, the painting was still wet. It was a maelstrom of dark, angry waves, a sky the color of a bruise. And in the center of it all, a small boat, the sea serpent, being swallowed by the sea. It was her grandfather's boat. She could see the name, faintly lettered on the bow. It was a detail no record would have shown, a memory only her family held. Her fortress of facts crumbled. The numbers and charts on her screen were just the storm's skeleton. Elias had painted its soul. Tears she hadn't shed in 20 years streamed down her face. He hadn't just painted a storm. He had painted her grandfather's last moments. He had painted her grief. In the weeks that followed, Aerys's world was turned upside down. Everything she had built her career on, her entire belief system, was shaken. She looked at weather maps and no longer saw just isobars and wind speeds. She saw the potential for memory, for emotion. She found herself spending more and more time at Elias's gallery, not as a scientist, but as someone searching for answers she couldn't find in textbooks. The connection between them deepened, an unspoken understanding passing between the rational and the intuitive. One evening, as the sun set, casting a golden light across the studio, she found him staring at a new, blank canvas. "I want to paint you," he said, his voice quiet. She was hesitant, feeling exposed, but she agreed. For hours, she sat as he worked, the silence comfortable, punctuated only by the soft scrape of his brush. When he was finished, he turned the easel around. It was a portrait of her, standing on a sun-drenched beach, the light warm and joyful. It was a picture of pure happiness, of a peace she hadn't felt in years. But then her eyes were drawn to the sky. Behind her smiling image, floating in the perfect, brilliant blue, was a single, dark cloud. It was small, almost insignificant, but its shape was unmistakable. It was the precise, jagged form of a broken heart. A secret heartbreak she carried from a past betrayal, a pain she had never shared with a single soul. He saw it. He saw the one piece of her she kept hidden from the world, the one memory that wasn't trapped in a storm, but inside of her. She looked at him, speechless. All her defenses were gone. She was no longer Dr. Aerys Thorne, cynical meteorologist. She was just Aerys, a woman who had just seen her own soul rendered in oil paint. Just as she was about to speak, to ask the thousand questions swirling in her mind, a powerful gust of wind rattled the gallery windows. The sky outside, which had been clear moments before, was rapidly turning a menacing shade of slate gray. Aerys's phone buzzed with a dozen frantic alerts. A storm system, one that had appeared out of nowhere, was rapidly intensifying just off the coast. It was moving with impossible speed, defying all predictive models. It was bigger and more powerful than anything she had ever seen. Her scientific mind re-engaged in a panic, calculating wind speeds and potential storm surge. But Elias wasn't looking at the sky. He was staring, horrified, at another canvas, one he had been working on all morning. It was still wet, the paint gleaming under the dimming light. It was a painting of their town, or what was left of it. Buildings were torn from their foundations. The pier was obliterated, the streets flooded by a monstrous wave. It was a scene of utter devastation. He turned to look at her, his face pale with a terror she had never seen on him before. His voice was a choked whisper. "Aerys," he said, this one isn't a memory. It's a premonition. What does the storm have in store for them? And can Elias's terrifying vision be stopped? We'll find out in the next episode. If you were captivated by this story, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. Thanks for watching.